Lovely,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Yes.
So, Miss Beverly, there is just something really interesting about you. And is I want to ask you, is that your only child? Is Snoop? Is he your only child?
Oh no, I have four altogether. Four sons,
For all boys.
all boys.
And so, what got you into evangelism?
Well, I always went to church. I've always been more of a leader than a follower. And when I got saved, I wanted to be president of the choir. And it didn't happen that first year, but the next year, they elected me as the president. And then, just growing and being an example for people to see how you're supposed to live as a Christian.
And how has the relationship been between you and your son's name is Calvin? But everyone knows him as Snoop Dogg. But how has the relationship been between you and him, and your faith with God?
Well, it's been hard. It's been very hard. But you know what? I kept on praying for him. I kept on praying for my other sons. I never stopped. I just kept on praying. I said, because Lord, you know what you did for me. And what you did for me, you're going to do for them. And as I kept praying and praying, and it's like when you just give up or you go somewhere, you don't even be thinking about it. That's when God sent him back to me. And he's been connected to me ever since, just connected. It's like, oh, Mom, I love you, Mom. We can say it all the time. Love is action. You can talk it. And he has shown his love in more ways than one, to not only me, but to his brothers also. And I'm loving it like it is now because God is dealing with him. Because, he got a calling on his life. He will preach the word. He will preach the word. He will preach the word, and he will preach when God says so. And it's not that far off. And that's an amen.
Amen. You look very stress-free and very peaceful. As a woman and a mom who raised 4 boys, were you a single mom?
A single mom. That's right.
And so with small children, how was it for you, you a young woman with 4 small boys, trying to live right?
You know what? Well, see, my mom always took us to church. And so, when I got grown, I kind of like had that same pattern. But it's like, when you start, partying and, you drinking, staying up all night long, you don't go to church like you used to. But let me tell you something. When I turned 28 years of age, I had my last son, and God, he saved me at 28 years old. And I have been running for God like never before. And when I got saved, my oldest son was 10, and Snoop was 8. My baby was 2. And then I adopted my nephew later. And so they grew up in having a devotion at home and talking about the Lord and reading the Bible and everything. And Snoop used to tell his friends, my mom done lost her mind. I said, I ain't lost my mind. I said, when I go to church, you go to church. When I go to Sunday school, you going. Bible study, prayer meet, you name it, they went. I took my kids. And I was invited to Houston, Texas, July, to a hip-hop meeting. Do you know, when I got up to speak, them folks closed their mouth. They couldn't say anything. I said, I said what I had to say, let God use me. And then I said, would anybody like to ask any questions or anything? They say, no. We can't believe that you his mother. You spiritual like that, and you his mother? I was like, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
They couldn't believe it. Couldn't find no words to say. I said, but see, I raised my children the right way. I said, but the old saying said the apple don't fall too far from the tree. So even though he strayed, if I came back, God's going to bring him back. And the other boy. So, yes, and I love it. I love preaching. I love speaking. I love being out there helping women and young girls and letting them know that if a man love you, he would never put his hands on you, because love is not violent. Love is somebody you love. You wrap the arms around them. You enjoy them. Your relationship is like a friendship with one another. You share everything, together. And a lot of women, they be shocked. And I'm telling him, I'm not married. My husband passed 11 years ago. I'm not worried about a husband, because when God get ready, that's when he'll send the key. Until then, I continue to live for him, because I am a kept woman of God. Ain't looking for nobody to date. Just living, doing what God wants me to do every day of my life. And sin, we all fall short. Ask God to forgive me every day and keep right on moving. And that's what we have to do. Continue to pray for our children. Don't knock them. Just pray for them. Even though they do wrong, pray for them.
Yep.
And that's where I've come this far, is because of the faith I have in God and how God brought me through. If he did it for me, he could surely do it for my 4 sons. And that's an amen.
And amen to that.
Amen.